you grow up with a NES, PlayStation, Star Wars, cartoons, and 80s TV? Do you like to think who would win in a fight between Batman and the Master Chief? Comics, games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. Comics, games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. This Week in Geek. This Week in Geek.
Well, hello. Welcome out to our first, I guess, August break show. We're going to have another one of these next week, maybe the week after. We'll see how this goes. But yes, we are still on our summer break hiatus. We got a bunch of cool games and movies and stuff that we've checked out for review that we're going to be splitting up some of the reviews over the course of the next week or two. But there's some pretty sweet things that have come out that I definitely want to talk about. I'll have, from me within this review show, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the version for Switch 2. I will also have an indie title in here from Atari to talk about, and I will also have, what else do I have in here? Let me see here. I know I've got a bunch of stuff on the go. So, oh yes, Marvel Tokon. I've had a chance to check that out. There, didn't want to forget that. That was a big one. But we've got a few things in here from Birdman as well. What have I been up to basically the last week? I've went and actually hung out with Birdman. We actually haven't been physically in the same room together to hang out since sometime in like April after Easter. It just, schedules didn't line up or anything, and I got a chance to hang out with him shortly after he unfortunately had to put Ayla down. You know, that old girl cat, she was like almost 20 years old, and it was time. And as of this recording, he's like, we actually found another cat, so now I'm gonna have to go back and meet the new cat. So you know, it was sad time, but you know, it was a good thing for us to catch up and hang out. We just had like a chill hangout session, so we could just have a few hours just to ourselves, because you know, it's not like it used to be when we started recording like this stuff together. Like, well, he started this 20 almost years ago, but when I started with him almost 10 years ago, you know, the first 3 years we were recording everything basically at least once a week in his place. We would record, and I was hanging out at his place like every, you know, twice a week almost. And then, you know, pandemic hits, and that obviously shortened it down, and we were doing basically monthly trips. And you know, now when I think about it, it's sometimes we only get to hang out. Like we're virtually, like, we're communication all day, every day, you know, hanging out online, but like we only get to see each other, you know, a handful of times a year now. So we just try to chill and relax and have fun that way. So it was nice hanging out with him. I've seen some movies lately. I went and saw The Odyssey. I am one of the people that didn't like it. I thought it was kind of boring. I thought that it was pretentious. I thought that the performances overall were really not that good. I thought they phoned things in. I feel like everybody just praises Nolan because of what he does with the tech, but not because the quality of the actual films are any good. I felt that he is incredibly bad at mixing audio. I know that's like, too, like, no, but he's like, for somebody who says you should be listening to his movies in Atmos, I went to a Dolby Atmos theater. It sounded like crap. And every other movie I see in Atmos sounds great. I have an Atmos setup at home, a proper Atmos setup. It sounds like crap every time you put his movies on. I am convinced that he is just actually like legitimately maybe medically bad at hearing. And what he thinks sounds good does not sound good or reference quality to anybody else. Anyway, mini rant over. The movie was okay at best. What else have I seen since then? I went and saw Spider-Man. That was great. That was actually really good. And that had great sound mixing. And as of this recording, this week, I will be going to see a celebration of the 100th anniversary of, what am I seeing? I'm seeing The General, the Buster Keaton silent film. Local indie theater is actually hiring a piano player to play the sheet music live in the theater for us. that's going to be fun. I've done that once before with a previous silent film, and that was probably 10 years ago or more. But it'll be nice to do that. That's just a fun little getaway. If it wasn't having live music played for us live there, I likely wouldn't go, because I could just watch a silent film with a modern film score attached to it at home if I wanted to. But that's going to be fun, so I'm doing that. I plan to go see some other stuff. I'm just not sure exactly what just yet. Oh, and I also saw at the same indie theater, at one of their other locations, I Want Your Sex, which was actually, it wasn't quite as funny as I thought it was going to be, but it was an entertaining movie. It was worth going out and seeing. It had a good crowd, so that's always a big bonus there. And then there's like some dinosaur movies and stuff coming up, so we'll see what I'm going to go see next. But there's some interesting things coming. But yeah, I'm going to go throw it over to our reviews. There should be a few for Birdman, a few for me in here. I'll come back at the end, just give a brief update as to what is coming programming wise, because we've had to make a few little shift ups, but that's, that's for future Alex in a few minutes to come back to. So I guess I'm going to throw it to one of our first reviews. I'm not sure which one it is, but I'll be back later on right here at ThisWeekInGeek.net.
I am itching for a fight. For Earth's sake, I hope you don't disappoint.
The Earth is not a toy for you to play with.
Say your prayers!
Doom is no one's entertainment.
Let's finish this quick. I've taken down more tyrants than I can count. You're next, champion.
You thought you could fight me? Meet your doom!
Wait! Few have withstood my fury.
The screen's getting crowded.
Wade, you are hopeless.
That should finally shut you up.
Fighters, assemble! The challenge of the champion begins!
Behold Earth's true power.
Let me at them, Storm.
Try and keep up.
Is that all?
About time. Front page of the Bugle, here I come. Maybe this time it'll be a good story.
So, we have a series of knockouts. And the winner gets a crack at the big guy.
I have never lost before. And I am not about to start now.
For the glory of Wakanda. I'm on it. Initiating attack.
Okay, save the world time. You got this. Oh, we're cooking now.
Let's show him something special.
I will not have my title stolen by mere mortals.
Inviting me to this contest was a big mistake.
Our friends at Sony Interactive Entertainment Canada sent a review copy of Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls for the PlayStation for us to check out and review. This is something that I know everybody on the team has been eagerly awaiting. We played the closed betas a little bit. We played the open betas. I wasn't able to do quite as much. I was very busy when it came to the open beta time, so I only got to briefly try it out. Where I played it a little bit on PC and then I played it a little bit on console. We were sort of testing out what kind of hardware you need on PC to run it, and we came to the conclusion that the one computer I had was the bare minimum that it could run it. The bedroom PC, which is just like a media PC, has an ARC A380 in there with a Ryzen 3600. So like we're talking just before the pandemic, a mid-range PC from that time. And I was able to get the game to run at 720p 60 on low settings. It works though, and it was pretty smooth. But we also had a different computer that did not have rebar support, and that was not okay. But in the living room when I was trying it on PC for the open beta, the closed beta, I think it was for that. That's the 12th gen Intel i7 with the 3080 Ti and 64 gigs of RAM. So that thing ran like as good as it could. I know going into this, if anybody's listening, right now you're thinking, hey, Did you guys review the PC version? We did not. We were not sent the PC version for review, the retail final version. And we know that has been having issues. I don't know if it's related to DRM that's installed or just the way the code is optimized. Like a lot of people across the world, not just, a few select reviewers, and that it's a lot of people in the fighting game community, casual players, they're all tending to have issues with the multiplayer on there and just the frame pacing and all that sort of stuff. So we can't really speak on that. That's the kind of thing that's going to get patched out anyway, it. It's unfortunate that it launched in that state. What we did have, obviously, is the PS5 version review. And actually, Ken had bought a copy for himself right around the time that I was sent the review copy. So we played a little together. We had about an hour session together so we could play some multiplayer, just sort of get used to it online. And then I spent the next few hours on my own going through all of the single player modes. I went through every scenario in the single player. There are obviously 5 teams, so you play the 5 scenarios. There are some aspects that are similar, like certain pathways, certain storylines, you all sort of end up at the same place, but how they interact to each other and how they tell the story is a little different. With one key, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like one of the 5 scenarios is dramatically different and completely changes the ending. So like 4 out of the 5 endings will have a very similar ending, but some slight changes, and one has a more definitive sort of different ending. They control pretty well. I have found that for my own personal taste, me coming into this, I am what you would probably call a casual fighting fan. I played a lot of fighting games in the arcades in the 90s, played a bit of Tekken back in the day on the PlayStation, sort of in a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter kind of. I would jump in and play with friends, but I wouldn't say I've been like an active, like hardcore fighting fan of like where like I played all the time. I was never a competitive player, but like where I was considered like, I would say more really into it was when I had the Dreamcast, like back in the day when I was playing those Sega fighting games or like Soul Calibur and that. Like, so now it's hard to believe we're going on nearly 30 years. We're like 25 years in since that I was like that, but I would always play games as they came out, especially for review and that. And this appealed to me because this felt like a much more approachable game. And I can say that it is for the most part. It is, if you're a button masher, you can get by. Especially since the difficulty when playing the like single player mode, the first scenario that you play, doesn't matter which one you select out of the 5, will be on like an easier setting. I would say the second lowest level of CPU difficulty. And if you lose a battle, for the next battle you can retry at a lower difficulty. It'll let you lower it down 1, and then it becomes basically super easy to beat. That's no problem at all. And then for each scenario that you beat, it appears to raise the difficulty at least 1 level, maybe even 2, but by the time you're at the final scenario, so that if you die, you can lower the difficulty by 1, and if you die again, you can lower the difficulty again at least 1 more time, 2 levels below, to complete it. So there's not really like a state of failure completely. There is something to consider though, in that the difficulties will have to be balanced. That's something that happens with any major fighting game. And it does have balance issues in that the lowest setting is too easy, but I guess that needs to be there for kids. The normal difficulty when you do the first scenario is probably a good balance, but then when you step up from CPU level 3 to like CPU level 4 out of 5 or 6 or however many there are, it becomes nigh impossible. It's almost like the gap in between level 3 and 4 is too much. And then I can't even imagine the hardest difficulty, but like if you go above a level 3 in difficulty in the story mode or any other mode that you play when it's against the CPU, you basically get into a situation where if you're not very quick and very lucky, you'll get trapped and they can just infinitely juggle you and you can't get out of it. That's something that will obviously be patched later on, just something to consider. So when you're playing the single player mode, you may end up dying and just lowering the difficulty to move on. It does raise it after that battle. So basically it only lowers it to make you have the ability to beat that level. It just kind of causes a situation where when you're like 3 or 4 scenarios in out of the 5, I got to the point where I'm like, well, this, within the first 3 or 4 seconds, I could tell, well, this one's going to be too difficult to beat because it just doesn't seem balanced. I'll just let them kill me and then I just would restart with a lower difficulty. It doesn't let you permanently select it for that, which is a little odd. I kind of get what they're doing. It's kind of neat, but that could be frustrating for some people. As far as other modes are concerned, there's like sort of like a little arena battle mode where it's like a tournament thing where you can go against the CPU or other people online, and you have your avatars that you can customize. Personally, I'm a Howard the Duck with a little fedora on. I look like a little duck edgelord, and I've got a Muramasa blade in one hand and Wolverine's claws on my other hand, and Captain America's shield on my back, and I ride around on a Silver Surfer board, and I've got little Groot as my little pet running around with me. Those are all things that some things you can earn within the game, some things come with pre-order bonuses, some things come with season passes. I want to say thank you. They did send us for this review the like ultimate edition, the best one that you can get to start up with. So it ends up having the year one pass. So we'll jump in and probably do periodic updates. We'll maybe do a little segments on our show as updates come out and characters and levels and everything from the season's pass come out, because it'll be neat to see how things shape up over the course of the year. So we'll make sure we jump in and do a little like, you know, update on the state of the game sort of thing. But yes, pretty awesome so far. The voice acting is great. The animations are, fantastic. It can get a little chaotic on screen with a lot going on. It'll take a while to really master this. It doesn't play like other fighting games that I've played. It took a little bit to get used to just the control scheme, and once I got going, there's a few characters that, you know, I like. I would say a hot tip for somebody new who isn't a competitive fighting game fan and is just like jumping in, or you got kids, you're jumping into it. The easier ones to control are some of the larger characters, are the ones that have more reach. Like, I would say Ms. Marvel is really easy to control. It's a good starter character for like a team leader for a character. Hulk as well, to a lesser extent, maybe Magneto. There's a couple others. Penny Parker is also a good one to control, but I would say probably the easiest for somebody, if you're just learning the very basics, it was probably, at least as of this recording, it's probably Ms. Marvel is the easiest to use. Some of the other characters take a little more mastery, because each character has their own little gimmicks when it comes to how they control, how they fight, how they gain their super meters and all that sort of stuff. And there's a good tutorials for each scenario where you get to learn a little bit of each character, but it's very basic. There is training modes, there's practice modes, you can do that here. There is, as I mentioned, the arena thing where it's like half fighting a level to gain points and stars, and then half you're in this like overworld where you're your little avatar, you can beat up each other almost like I guess like a little bit like a Power Stone sort of thing, where you're collecting items to attack each other and, you know, get their hearts, which is pretty sweet. There's like an endless battle mode to see how long you can last with your health constantly diminishing. There's modes, there's obviously your standard online modes. There's also modes for like a sort of a tree that you go through, where the idea is to conquer every level in different pathways you can take, and doing so unlocks character art and stuff for the museum to look at. Pretty standard stuff, but pretty fun overall. I'd say it's a pretty solid release. It's too bad that the fighting stick wasn't ready to release at launch for this. That's coming out, at least from what I see in the pre-order, sometime in like December. I would have liked to have had hands on to see how the fighting stick worked. I ended up playing it just with a standard DualSense controller. I know Ken has a third-party fight stick that he was able to jigger up to make sure that it would work, and he's been playing it that way. But overall, I mean, pretty good. Having a good time with it. We'll check in later on when more stuff gets announced. Hopefully for the PC stuff, if you're somebody who doesn't have a PlayStation but you really want to play this on PC, hopefully they get some patches out for that very soon to fix some of the performance issues that are happening there, because I know a lot of other people are saying don't buy it there right now. That's the current state as of this recording. As of this recording, it plays fantastic on PlayStation, so no problem there. So if you have a PlayStation, you've been looking for a new fighting game, you've been looking to, fill your Marvel fix, especially as we get closer to more stuff coming. Obviously, we have the Spider-Man movie out in theaters right now, and then we've got more Avengers coming later on this year. Fighting games that aren't just the big 2 or 3 are back, baby, and I'm pretty happy to see that. So I'll put a link in the description for the show if you'd like to check it out. But I highly recommend it. It's good for people that are entry fighters like me, and then I'm sure if you're like a more hardcore fighting game fanatic, you'll get used to it pretty quick as well.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and once again, I'm here to talk about something fun we got from our friends over at Hasbro. I'm talking about Transformers Age of the Primes, G2 Dinobot Swoop, and G2 Dinobot Sludge. Well, now we have all of the Dinobots in their ridiculous G2 colors. I could not be happier. I love this neon nightmare as what it is. Like, I remember when I got my G2 Grimlock last year, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll stick with this. I'm pretty whatever. And then I started getting the other ones, and I love the 86 Dinobots molds. Basically, these are like masterpieces at a fairly affordable price. And the fact that it's done up in their G2 colors, they look ridiculous. Swoop with neon green, that is a vibe in ways I can't even begin to describe to you. But ultimately, these are the same great figures you saw a while ago, just in their G2 colors. Great posability. They've got their sword weapons. So now if you want to give Grimlock his proper sword, you can, but Swoop can wield two of them. He's got his missile launchers. Sludge has his sword and gun. These figures are blast effect compatible too. If you have a flight stand, you can set up Swoop so he can do more dynamic poses. He was the one Dinobot I was a little worried about. Wasn't going to translate well because he's so small in the show, but here in his like much higher scale for a figure, he displays great. He poses wonderfully. Same with Sludge. Again, with the Dinobots, there really isn't a bad figure among them. It just depends what deco do you want. And I love displaying my G2 Dinobots in their Dinobot form, in their dinosaur forms, because I think they just display better because it is so loud and it's very 90s coded. And I honestly can't complain. I think they're fantastic. So if you want to bring back the most extreme version of the 90s, you really can't go wrong with the Transformers Age of the Primes G2 Dinobot Swoop and G2 Dinobot Sludge.
Alex, the producer, here with just a quickie review while we're still on our summer break. Our friends at Atari and Washbear Studios sent Parkasaurus for us to check out. Now, this had been released, I believe, a few years ago on PC, and this is the first time it's hitting consoles. So it includes DLC packs that were previously released on PC first. And I had a chance to check it out on Switch 2 because that's become kind of the main console I'm looking at when it comes to, multi-platform releases, because it's the most recent and kind of the one that would most be likely for people to pick up for like these sorts of games, if that makes any sense. Basically, it's like a tycoon style game. You're in charge of a dinosaur park, and you're managing all the different exhibits, and you're hiring people to help make it work, and getting dinosaur eggs, and you have to like craft different biospheres and do all this fun stuff to just sort of maintain it. So think like back in the day, the old like roller coaster tycoon kind of game with a little bit of like the Sim City Sim sort of feel, and a more modern sheen and feel overall for this. Pretty good visuals for what it is. I think it pops. It's simple enough that anybody can sort of just jump in and play. There's like dozens and dozens, I think 80 or more buildable items that you can build, and different habitats and all these different things that you can manage in aspect. And it's just a pretty fun way to spend like, an afternoon or two at a time. I've just sort of been playing it sprinkled in and out between other stuff I've been doing while we're on vacation. And I think it's pretty good. It's a solid release. I think it's worth checking out. It's not going to be for absolutely everybody, because it's not like the simplest game out there. It's also not the most complex. Like, you're not getting into like Civilization levels of deepness here, but I think it strikes a really good balance, and it's a pretty fun game. And dinosaurs are kind of hype again. We've had like Jurassic Park stuff come and go. As of this recording, we've got like new dinosaur movies coming soon to theaters. It's kind of a good time for it to sort of pop up. I think it's pretty sweet. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and I'm here to talk about something we got from our friends over at Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. I'm talking about the 4K Ultra HD Plus digital code movie known as Lee Cronin's The Mummy. So I actually had a chance to see this in theaters when it came out. I want to say back in April or so. One of the rare times Blair comes to the movies with me. I saw the trailer for this movie, and I was thinking, all right, this is an interesting take on The Mummy. There's no Brendan Fraser and no Tom Cruise. So, okay, sure, I'm in. And what I got from this movie was not quite what I expected. I'm not going to say this movie is complete waste of time, and I'm not going to say it's a masterpiece either. I would say this movie is very mixed. So to give a very short summary of the movie, a family is living over in Egypt. One of their children goes missing, a little girl named Katie. She is kidnapped, and the family goes obviously very distraught looking for her. Eventually they have to return to the United States. After many years of being missing, one day their daughter is found, and what follows is a series of supernatural shenanigans that continue to escalate until eventually it's game time. And it's a very disturbing movie at times. There is one scene that they actually talk about in the special features where they talk about toenails and something comes off. Now, full disclosure, I have a little bit of PTSD from my amputation, and seeing someone's skin and it was very messed up, and I was like, oh god, I actually had to look away from the screen. So that gets points for triggering, I guess. But overall, the movie, it has a lot of neat practical effects. When the practical effects hit, they really land interesting. I love how they make the mummy wrappings a part of the little girl's skin. That's, I think, really clever, and I might steal that for a future D&D game. But beyond that, it's very weirdly paced. I feel like this movie could have used a few more passes in the script and maybe the filming stage. Like, it's not as entertaining as it should be. It feels very confused, and I'm not calling the director a bad filmmaker. I'm really not. It didn't land with me in the way that I wanted it to, because this was supposed to be a big date movie for me and Blair. So maybe that's coloring my opinion a little bit, but I did not enjoy my time with it. When it comes to the special features, there's less than half an hour, but each of the special features, one of them is like 10 minutes, another one is about 12, and then the rest are shorter in length. I think special features work out to about 25 minutes, plus there's some deleted scenes, and there is commentary with this movie as well. Overall, I'm going to say with Lee Cronin's The Mummy, I think it's something you should probably stream if you're interested in watching it. Maybe grab it on VOD, and if you like it, you can pick it up. It does look great in 4K. I can say that. Because it's very contrasty, very bright at times and very dark at other times. I don't feel like there's a lot murky or anything lost within that. Fantastic audio mixing on it as well. But I wanted more from this, and it's really unfortunate because The Mummy is one of my favorite Universal monsters, and this should have maybe have been called something else. One of my friends had suggested maybe calling this The Sarcophagus or The Possessed or something like that. I feel like The Mummy is not the right story here. I mean, this isn't the story of Imhotep. It's something else entirely, and I don't know. I don't see this being a critical darling even years down the road. So ultimately, Lee Cronin's The Mummy gets a maybe give it a rent if you're going to check this movie out at all. Once again, from our friends over at Warner Brothers Home Entertainment.
Let's go to Elysium. I'll take you there myself.
Join Rex and Pyra in their search for paradise, now enhanced for the Nintendo Switch 2 system in the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Nintendo Switch 2 Edition game. Play at 60 frames per second with 4K resolution in TV mode or Full HD in handheld mode. and enjoy in-game cutscenes with enhanced resolution, frame rate, and detail. There are also new outfit designs for Pyra and Mithra. These carry over from adventuring to cutscenes too. And you can control your blades directly in a new mode called Mercasol. Choose up to 6 blades to send out on each mission. Troops, move out!
Best of luck to you.
Begin.
Move and fight freely with each blade, and change which one you control at any time. Combining blade specials is key to victory here.
Now you'll see what fire can do.
Pile on the pressure with a series of powerful moves to complete these Merc missions.
Clear the way.
Water cleanses all.
Mission complete.
A new rare blade, Momo, will also be in the game. Swap between 2 forms to change her appearance and elemental affinity.
Give it up!
Keep eye on it.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Nintendo Switch 2 Edition will be available on the date shown on screen. Nintendo Switch 2 players who already have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on Nintendo Switch can upgrade to the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition by purchasing the upgrade pack.
Alex, the producer here, and our friends at Nintendo sent over a review code for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. Now, this is a game, obviously, if you're listening to us, you know, we're well versed in it. This is one of my favorite franchises of the last, even though to me it's only been the last like 10 years. I know obviously there was the version originally of the original Xenoblade Chronicles was on the Wii. I missed it because I wasn't really playing RPGs in that system, wasn't really playing the Wii, yada, yada, yada. I also didn't have a 3DS at the time. So moving forward, we basically covered all of them since then. When I started working with Twig, we hadn't started really doing a ton of reviews. That we were ramping that back up again in 2017. It wasn't until 2018. And this was actually one of the games when I first moved to the apartment that I'm currently in that I picked up and played for myself. Physically, I ended up, playing it like nonstop, beating it, loved every second of it. I was like, this is what the new generation of games is going to be like. I'm so happy because there hadn't been a ton of great RPGs available, for a while. And it was sort of a nice, a nice change of pace. There was like a lot of gotcha elements that I didn't care for though, with like the random number generation. That was the only thing that, pulled it back from me. But obviously it looked pretty good, but there were some frame rate issues and all that sort of stuff at the era. It kind of happened in like the 2017, 2018 era for a lot of games. That being said, physically, I owned the game physically, and I ended up selling it to my brother because he wanted to get the system. Yeah, so I hadn't touched it since, and I hadn't really, gone, and I didn't even play like the expansion Torna and all this stuff. So I'm a little behind on some of that, but then obviously I played, Xenoblade Chronicles X, the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was basically my game of the year when that came out. So we've been going back and covering the remaster games. We covered and played Chronicles, the definitive edition remastered on the Switch 2, was it a month ago now? It's hard to tell. We're still on break, so time flies and it's going a little weird, but this is the first time I've really had a chance to dig back into Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So it's available either as a standalone, which is what I received as a code to get, so thanks to Nintendo for that, or you can get an upgrade pack that if you own, either the physical or digital version of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like the original version that came out on the Switch 1, you can pay for a digital upgrade that'll upgrade it on your Switch 2. Obviously that means if you have it they have the original game physically, you'll have to keep that cart in to launch the game with the updated launcher information and everything. But anyway, with that out of the way, I talked about this game years ago about how much I loved it, so this is going to be a full review of that game in particular. I've spent enough time with it now to know how it feels, how it's going. I can say this, if you're somebody with hindsight looking at it, this was probably one of it's this and 3 are almost tied to me. Like 3 to me has the better music, and it had the better technology behind it. It had a better frame rate, looked a little better, but it had the advantage of learning from what they had done with the Switch 1 version of this originally to grow on there. Interestingly enough, with the updates here, this is maybe crawling its way back up to being my favorite of the franchise, which is, pretty sweet. So big difference here is you're ended up going from, it was like a 720p 30 FPS game, regardless of if you played it docked or if you played it in portable mode on the original Switch. The main difference being it was like 720p, but like slightly better visuals and a little bit better frame rate when you had it docked originally. Well, here we've gone, a completely different route. When you're playing it in TV mode, so when you have it docked, you're playing on basically 4K. Now, there's going to be upscaling because there's all that fancy DLSS and all that sort of, or whatever their internal tech is that they use for it. So it's upscaling an image, but it's much cleaner and crisper than it used to be, like dramatically. I could tell, like, the one advantage is I'm playing it on the same TV that I played the game originally on years ago, because I haven't been able to upgrade my TV yet. So I have direct memories, and that's I guess a good comparison is that it's not like I have a magical new TV that makes everything look better. But yes, it plays in 4K when docked, and when it plays handheld, now it's 1080p, which is the native resolution of the Switch 2. And they target 60 FPS for both. I say target because I would say about 90 to 95% of the time, it's almost locked at 60, which is double the frame rate. It just feels more responsive. It's less stuttery or like stair-steppy when you're like moving the camera around. It's very smooth and it looks crisper. There's better textures. Everything here looks much better, and it's almost like, it almost feels like a new game, honestly. They added a new rare blade, which is very interesting because they added Momo. Momo is from the Saga games, which is interesting because, yes, we had Cosmos before, and that was kind of a surprise, but there's been issues with the Xeno franchise, like the overarching franchise overall, because the original one, Xenogears, was owned by Square Enix. Then the Xeno Saga franchise was Namco Bandai, or Bandai Namco, however you want to say that. They had those, and then Monolith was purchased or became a subsidiary of Nintendo, and then the Blade games came out, and there had only been like brief little hints that they were connected. Like, fans knew that they were connected, but you couldn't do it because different companies own different aspects of it, and that's why it was a surprise when they added Cosmos from the Saga games as a blade in this game, when it first came out. And now we're getting more characters from the franchise, which is pretty sweet that they're allowing that, or they've worked something out there. There is the new Merc Assault mode. Basically, you get to directly command the blades. There's a new action battle mode. It's basically like you can send them out on missions. And it's like a little RTS-y where you get to control them from a top-down sort of view. It's pretty sweet that they added something like that to this. And there's new outfits for Pyra and Mithra, which are outfits that I believe were used in like Smash Brothers and that. So they've included that here, which is good. And obviously the big plus here is the frame rate, the resolution, and the loading time is just dramatically better. I don't know from playing it, I can't feel if like the RNG was any better because it seemed like some aspects of getting the blades was even more random than it should have been. It should have been a little more friendly to you as a player. I can't tell if they've done any tweaks there. I really have to dig in a lot deeper than I've already dug, but like I played like over 100 hours when it first came out initially. So I'm jumping in and just taking my time with this time. I'm not rushing it. I'm on vacation, but I'm having a great time with it. This is the time, if you're somebody who's been on the fence of the franchise, with the Switch 2 editions coming out, the first one's already out, this is out now, and then later on we're getting one for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 as well. just in time for when the new game is going to come out sometime. I don't think they have a date yet, except that it's next year sometime. But this is a great time to jump in. While Xenoblade Chronicles 1 it's a great game, 2 really stepped things up. It had a different visual style and feel. Still has that cool sci-fi story. Not going to spoil anything, but there are connections between each game. Just they aren't apparent initially until you get farther in. And each game got better and better. This is the one that I felt needed the most work, in that it needed the most TLC to make it feel modern and good. And having a jump from like what used to be a 720p 30 FPS, and they would sometimes dip into like the 20s or less. It would almost become a slideshow when it was really struggling on the original Switch. And you jump up to 4K at 60. It's dramatic. This is an awesome game, and I'm really hoping that more people pick it up and play it, because it's a good game to play. If you're looking to have a good 1-2 punch for the rest of your summer, I would say pick up Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and once again I'm here to talk to you about something really fun I got from our friends over at Hasbro. I'm talking about the Transformers Age of the Primes Decepticon Monstructor. I've actually been a huge fan of combiners since I was a kid. I love Superion, I love Defensor, Menasor. Not a big fan of Devastator, but he's kind of grown on me since the 86 edition that's come out and is finally now complete. And Monstructor is one of those ones there where he was a pretender combiner, which was unusual at the time. So what this is a core class combiner. So think of like the core class you've seen, like, Optimus, Megatron, Soundwave, but there was a Dinobot combiner that was released earlier that formed Volcanicus. And that was then retooled into the Japanese Dino King, which has then been further retooled into this version known as Monstructor. This is a Decepticon combiner that was basically driven insane and is basically death incarnate. If you've read the IDW comics, there are some pretty neat scenes that feature him. I'm hoping we get a full-size Abominus in the future. But in terms of core class combiners, this is something I didn't expect to have it work quite as well, because they're smaller figures, there's limited articulation. This one feels different, even though it is functionally the same as Volcanicus and Dino King. Something about this guy feels a little bit more sturdy. Like, there's just something that I like having the points of articulation feel very solid. Like, it's not necessarily intuitive how he goes together. Like, you are going to have to read the instructions. But when you put together his 5 parts, like his torso, his arms, and his legs, and you put together his weapon, he feels really solid in hand. And because these are based upon the Pretender bots, they don't necessarily have their Pretender shells. Instead, they're sort of retooled from sort of a new modern interpretation. So like Bird Brain, for example, who's I guess kind of the leader of these guys, had like a different version. Like when I had him as a kid, it was a rubber shell, and then the monster went inside, which would transform into a different kind of alt mode or whatever. Here, they're sort of based upon their alt Pretender shells. And for the most part, I think it works fairly great, honestly. I mean, it looks so good. And the fact that the head is, I'm pretty sure, based upon the IDW version of the character, I think is utterly outstanding. I mean, Monstructor is one of the few combiners I didn't know whether we'd ever see at mass retail. I was honestly expecting he'd be a Comic-Con exclusive or something like that. And since I know Hasbro does listen to these, I really hope we get a full-sized Voyager class, ideally Voyager and Deluxe Abominus. That would be awesome. I would love to see if we do the Seacons as a core class combiner. If we could figure out a way to make that work, I think that'd be pretty cool. And I'm hoping the next big showcase figure will be like Defensor. I think that'd be really fantastic, considering some of those characters already have molds that would kind of work. Then maybe with a slight retool, I think you could pull off like maybe using Grapple and Hoist as Hotspot, maybe RC as Groove, stuff like that. There are tons of options to make this work. I think it would be fantastic. But ultimately, Monstructor, if you didn't get Volcanicus, if you didn't get Dino King, I think a really strong contender is honestly Monstructor. Honestly, it's probably one of my favorite Transformers I've gotten this year, and that says a lot. So ultimately, Transformers Age of the Primes Monstructor absolutely deserves a place in your collection.
Those magnificent bastards! Color me kooky, but something very odd is going on around here.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
And that's going to do it for the show this week or next, maybe. We'll see. We might have another one in the next week. It all depends, because we've got some games and some movies and stuff that we're working on review-wise that are taking up some of our free time when we're still having our vacation. I know I've got a few games that are going to be talked about in a bit that I've been working through that I'm excited to talk about. I can't say exactly what they are, if they're good yet, but just know there's some neat stuff coming. As far as other programming we've got coming up, Birdman has had to shift around. As I mentioned, there's going to be some shifts. He had to shift around the spell book, due to scheduling conflicts. He had to have like repairs done to his wheelchair, as well as just a few other interesting things. But I would say for the most part, I think the schedule is going to basically stay the same, I think. But that being said, we're getting closer to when we come back from our break. So it's going to be some pre-recorded stuff. We might have some new stuff to talk about as we get closer. We're trying to have some stuff prepped for, like, I would say the prototype. We're not likely getting to do that discussion we wanted to do on Pragmata just yet, because Birdman didn't get around or wasn't able to get to playing as much as he wanted to. That'll just be a topic show that we pop up sort of whenever, but we're going to have coverage of Gamescom and everything coming out of there. So opening night live, we'll do a recording of that. I want to get back to doing more regular programming there. We'll have some evergreen stuff that we want to record for that. Probably like what are our top 10 lists of certain game franchises or platforms or generations, that sort of thing, things that we could sort of throw in whenever we feel comfortable having it come out. But as of right now, here is what's coming up over the next week. We have a new Earth vs. Soup episode 320, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. I know that that is something Aaron and Darlene have wanted to talk about for quite some time, so that's ready to go. In the regular Monday slot where we would normally have a show, but since we're on break, we have another Future Imperfect coming on us revisiting and talking about Star Trek V and Star Trek VI. We have then another Earth vs. Soup, which is episode 321 of I Walked with a Zombie from 1943. And then to round out the rest of the month when it comes to the Mondays, our regular slot, we have 2 episodes of Random Access Memories. One on movie mentors and then one on video games. So that'll be coming out in the regular slots. We'll have another review show or 2, maybe a topic show, maybe even some interviews. We'll see how things sort of work out, but there might be some interesting stuff coming up in between, and those will be sort of slotted in on like Tuesdays and Fridays is usually where they go. This one in particular, this episode is coming out on a Wednesday because of the shift up that Birdman had to do with the spell book. But the spell book should be returning next week, barring anything, knock on wood, crazy. I think that he plans to record like 2 or 3 at a time so that they can sort of be ready to go, because it's no fun having to shift around stuff just because scheduling didn't work or because a wheelchair tech didn't show up on time. But yeah, that's sort of what we're dealing with right now. We've got other episodes of other shows ready to record that we're going to have sporadically come out in the fall. I'm still working on putting together the elements, like opening and closing stuff, for a new show that I wanted to launch that probably isn't going to launch directly this summer. It's probably going to be more of a fall release, or maybe closer to maybe I'll launch it in the fall or winter or something like that. But I have a show that's going to be a sister show complement to Loose Cannon, which deals with genre movies and sci-fi and all sort, or genre movies. Then we have Future Imperfect, which is all sci-fi topics, usually movies. And this will be the sister show to that, and it's Twigs for Forgotten TV Wasteland. I have artwork and everything made for it. Just haven't finished the opening and closing stuff, and that is going to be where we talk about weird television shows that had either less than a season or maybe only a pilot or a few episodes that didn't, catch on. They were long forgotten, and usually in like the weird, either like sci-fi, fantasy, action, adventure, a lot of those shows that were sort of like from the 70s to the late 90s, especially the syndicated shows where they might have only gotten a couple episodes and then either the network or the syndication package pulled them. Because that's the stuff that fascinates me, because then we can discuss things like, hey, was it any good? Was it just sort of a bad time slot? Was it really bad? Or would this be something that would maybe work now or at a different time period? Is it ripe for remake sort of thing? So those are the kind of things that I find fun, because instead of having to watch like a whole season of a show to do a proper review, a lot of times if the whole season or the whole show is like 3 or 4 episodes when it got canceled, that's an easy watch for us. Or if it's something that maybe had a full season and it's maybe not completely forgotten, we can pick out like what are the, maybe reviewed online, what are the 3 best reviewed episodes, and we could watch those and discuss them, something like that. So again, sort of a sister companion show to the stuff, because we've had our podcast skew very movie heavy in the last several years, and it's like, hey, maybe we should do a little more TV, a little more obscure, because it's kind of up my alley a little more. I love movies and sci-fi and all, but for me, I've always loved the weird TV stuff. So that's going to be kind of my baby project for over the next little bit, and I'll update everybody when it comes out. But yeah, that's going to do it for the show this week. We'll see when we come back. It's probably going to be next week sometime. But again, it's sort of any of the review shows or any of that sort of stuff is sort of in floater limbo over the next couple of weeks until we're back from our vacation, and we'll be back to our regular scheduled programming of pretty much major shows every Monday, and then a couple review shows a month to sort of pick up the slack from that, as it were. And that's going to be back, if not after Labor Day, maybe the week after. It all depends on how the scheduling works and how Birdman's jobs and stuff sort of work, how he schedules this things out, because I know he's starting school and stuff too at some point. So we'll see, but that's it. We'll be back next time right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at ThisWeekInGeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@ThisWeekInGeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.